Is it possible to play GameCube games on Nintendo Switch? If you have an early model or so-called unpatched Switch, the answer is yes. If you install L4T Ubuntu, you can use the Dolphin emulator, which is the best way to play GameCube games on your Nintendo Switch. Check out the video in the top right corner to find out more. However, there's a threshold to how well GameCube games can perform, due to the fact that the Tegra X1 chip in Nintendo Switch is outdated. Nevertheless, there are still some games that can run really well. These are some of the best running GameCube games at 60 frames per second. Alien Hominid is a 2004 run and gun video game developed by the Behemoth. There's a Nintendo Switch version in development called Alien Hominid Invasion, but you can play the GameCube version right now. Bomberman Generation was the first Bomberman game released for the GameCube in 2002. The game runs best in battle game mode. Burnout 2 Point of Impact is a 2003 racing video game developed by Criterion Games. It has some weird graphical glitches and audio stutters, but it's still playable. Bust-a-Move 3000 is the PS2 game developed by Taito, and it was ported to the GameCube in 2003. The game has some audio stutter, but it's still playable. Capcom vs SNK EO was released in 2003, developed by Capcom. It includes an easy operation system where specific attacks are mapped to certain directions on the right analog stick. Chaos Field is a Sega Naomi arcade game developed by Milestone Inc., and it was ported to the GameCube in 2005. Crazy Taxi was developed by Hitmaker, and it was ported to the GameCube in North America 2001. It's not considered to be as strong as the Dreamcast version, but it's still playable. Ikaruga is another Sega Naomi game developed by Treasure, and it was ported to the GameCube in 2003. The gameplay is acceptable at around 60 frames per second, but there will be major slowdowns during explosions and screen transitions. Rayman 3 Hoodlum Havoc was developed by Ubisoft and was released in North America 2003 for the GameCube and Engage? It runs at around 60 frames per second with frame drops at open areas. Rayman Arena was also developed by Ubisoft and was only released for the GameCube in North America 2002. It runs at around 60 frames per second with some occasional frame drops. Castle Shikigami 2 aka Shikigami no Shiro 2 is a Sega Naomi arcade game developed by Alpha System. It was only released for the GameCube in Japan 2003. Super Monkey Ball is another Sega Naomi arcade game developed by Amusement Vision. It was ported to the GameCube in North America 2001. The Wii version was ported to the Nintendo Switch as Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz HD in 2019. Super Monkey Ball 2 is a sequel released in North America 2002. It's the first title to be exclusively released on the home console. The SpongeBob SquarePants movie was developed by Heavy Iron Studios, and it's based on the live-action animated film. It was released for the GameCube in North America 2004. The gameplay is acceptable at around 60 frames per second with some major slowdowns. Beautiful Joe was developed by Team Beautiful, later known as Clover Studio. It was released for the GameCube in 2002. The game was a part of the Capcom 5, a lineup of GameCube games to introduce new content for the console. Beautiful Joe 2 is a sequel developed by Clover Studio. It was released for the GameCube in North America 2004, and it runs at around 60 frames per second. Kao the Kangaroo Round 2 is a Polish action-adventure PC game developed by Tate Interactive. It was ported to the GameCube in North America 2006. So there you have it, some of the best running GameCube games on Nintendo Switch. If you have any questions or requests, please let me know in the comments below.